Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to KocoSports, the slow burn, with the huge one, aka the idiot Dave Koco from DAVEKOCO.com, and the king of Australia, Yuri the Black. Yuri the Black, welcome back to the slow burn.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone out there. Before we get onto the topic of the day, we just need to do our obligatory shout out to the guys over at Chanana for wrestling tonight. Screaming Scott signing, you rock, brother. Thank you so much for letting us use Wrestling Tonight as the official intro of the slow burn. What do we got today, Dave?
All right, so today's topic, and we talked about this a little bit at the end of our last podcast, but I thought it would be a good podcast. We're going to talk about how lucky we are as pro wrestling fans right now. Now, I know that's going to sound crazy because rumor has it I could be a little bit of a negative Nelly. But here's the thing. There was a time, our childhood, when we were very lucky and had many options. Then there was a time where a billionaire, he was a millionaire who turned billionaire, who knows? He's not exactly the cleverest billionaire there is, but we had to beg him. And now there's other options. So we're going to talk about it, and we're also going to talk about my fear of the youngins that grew up begging a billionaire. All right, could they actually enjoy pro wrestling outside of what is presented to Shiny McShinestein? I think that's McMahon's new name. Have you watched any of WWE lately? It is the shiniest show and brightest show ever. So his new name is Shiny McShinestein.
Rumble was the last show that I think I actually sat down and actually watched, and then I think after that I watched a handful of Nitros and WCW Nitros in '99. Like with the exception of the stuff that I normally watch, but yeah, like out of the older stuff, I haven't really watched too much WWE lately.
Oh, it's just bright, and I don't mean that as a negative. It could be a negative, it could be positive, but it is just bright. It's the bright Disney World of Lights is like, yo, bro, you just need to calm that brightness down, bro. You gotta dim it. All right. Let's talk about the good. Our childhood. There was magazines, and granted, now there's a lot of technology, but let's go back in time. We're old. There was magazines.
Much of a simple time, Dave. It was a simple time, and I miss that simple time, dude. It's just one of those things that. It's just, you're not going to get the spectacle. In a way, you don't get the same spectacle. You don't get the same sort of... You get where I'm coming from? You don't get that spectacle like it used to be. Because everything's changed and evolved over time, and times change, and yeah.
I think so, but I think just like anything else, nostalgia changes it. Everything, like some things don't hold up. You know, not everything is Transformers 1986 movie. That fucking holds up. Anyone that says Transformers 1986 doesn't hold up, we can't be friends, you know? I'm a pretty open-minded person, but that's where I draw the line. But a lot of stuff doesn't hold up, but yeah, there's nostalgia, but I think, you know, and this was going from last episode, I think protecting the business actually hurted the business. There's a Asian saying, a Chinese person said it, and then a Japanese person said, no, we said it first. But if you hold on tight to your beliefs and your culture and all that, it eventually dies. You have to let it go, and then you'll be known for that. So I think that's happened in the pro wrestling world. It's just, I gotta hold the secret, and it just killed the secret. But with that, on today's topic, we had magazines. We had a ton of territories, and there was something special for everything. And also, you could run territories, and you could do the same angle, and it would work. Or, you know who would dominate in the territories right now? Okada. Okada either has to pretend to be injured, really be injured, or pretend that he's having a mental breakdown, because what do you do when you're the best wrestler in the world and you're not the champion? But you know what you did back in the day? You went from territory to territory. Dusty Rhodes, the Road Warriors. These guys were dominant and When they're like, okay, well, it's not getting over, move to the next town. Same thing with Andre the Giant. So there was tons of options, and no one got staled. Dun 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 dun. Superman punch for everyone. Yep. No one got staled because, let's say, let's just pick on John Cena because I'm sure this is groundbreaking. This is the first time an internet nerd and myself have ever made fun of John Cena. This is the first time. We're groundbreaking here. But let's just say John Cena overstayed his welcome for 700 years. But in the territory days, you could have sent him somewhere else so that if he wasn't getting over, let's say at WrestleMania 30, 31, 32, 33, if he wasn't getting over, you could send him somewhere and then you wouldn't see him all the time. And it was great because let's say you were a fan of the Road Warriors. The Road Warriors would kick ass in NWA, then leave. And they're like, oh my God, they're kicking ass in AWA. They're kicking ass. And it was great to see and jump around. And also, today people are so loyal to 3 letters instead of the wrestling style they like. How many times do you hear people go, oh my God, I hate this. I want this style of wrestling here. And you're like, this other 3 letters have that style. They're like, I would never leave my 3 letters. 3 letters for life. So yeah. It's kind of weird. I don't think we had that as a kid. Like, if you were a Road Warriors fan, you didn't care if they were in WWF. You didn't care if they were at NWA, WCW, AWA, USWA. You were just like, I want to see the Road Warriors kick ass. And it kept them fresh. Especially for those top teams or top faces. It's hard to be a face and be on television all the time. Like, I might make fun of John Cena, but he has the hardest job in the world. Because he has no talent. It's got to be hard to have no talent. He has no talent. He's being pushed to the top, and he has to do it over and over and over. So you're exposed. Andre the Giant didn't go fucking fight for the X Division title. He did his match that he was perfect at, and then when people were like, I'm tired of seeing Andre the Giant, he would pack up his van and move to the next spot, and the next spot, and the next spot. So you push him too much, you do this too much. Because a lot of people are like, oh, Hulk Hogan had the title a lot. Ric Flair had the title a lot. Oh, these fucking guys. But they fucking could go to different places and show it off. Like Ric Flair literally did the same feud and storyline in every territory of NWA. And we fucking loved it because his dancing partner was something different, It wasn't Randy Orton and John Cena 8 million times. It was Ric Flair, Barry Windham, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Jerry Lawler, And we got excited. Yeah. It was fresh. It was thing. And not only that, but it was different promotion, so you felt it was something special. So it could protect the wrestlers. It made the fandom so much better, because right now, what do we have? Oh, I hope he turns heel. Let's be completely honest. That's sad. That's not enough. Look at the poor ass Big Show. By the way, Big Show did awesome on commentary. I got to do a video on that because I got to eat some crow on that one.
I haven't actually watched that yet. I probably should. Sorry, continue.
No,
sorry. I was about.
Go ahead. You go first, sir.
Sorry. I was about to say, touching on what you were saying, the thing that I kind of liked when I was younger, right? Obviously, the main product that we had access to was the World Wrestling Federation, the WWF, right? So all that we ever really know, whoever was the world champion there, and it was like there was only one world champion in wrestling, and then it's like all of a sudden I'm getting access to AWA tapes or WCWs starting to pop up on TV, and I'm like, hang on a tick, I thought Hulk Hogan was world champion. It's like, what? Ric Flair's the world champion, but he's a WCW. What's going on there? Oh, what? Larry Zbyszko's the heavyweight champion of AWA, or Vern Gagne, or whoever else would have been at the AWA. And it was, but it's kind of, if you think about it, like you said, with the Travelers, right? Just say Andre the Giant did his thing. He was a heavyweight champion. Obviously, if he got stuck in one place too long, he would drop the belt, move to the next place. And then eventually he would make his way back around. He would still be relevant and it won't be stale. And I think that's what was really good about the stuff growing up.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to say something, fun fact about Larry Zbyszko. I think he was like one or a few strokes away from making a senior PGA tour. He really tried his hardest to make the senior PGA tour and almost made it. Larry
Oh,
Sabisco.
wow.
He lives in Florida, so he's a good dude, or at least to when I lived there. Who knows where he is now? Shout out to Larry Sabisco, being a great golfer. Fun facts. I
Hell
bring the
yeah.
fun facts. That's what that's what I want people to call me. Fun fact Dave. Fun fact Dave.
Or five-star chaser, fun fact Dave.
Exactly. 5-star chaser, fun fact Dave. But yeah, it was just better. And not only that, but Yuri the Black likes something different. Boom Boom likes something different. I like something different. You, the listener, liked something different. They had a federation for everybody. And you could tape trade, which sucked balls compared to today's standards, but it was amazing by those yesteryear standards. And you could just go. Like, here's an example. Yuri the Black watched WWF. Boom Boom watched WWF. I watched WCW. And I was never a WWE, WWF guy. But there were still options for me. So that was great. And then it came to like the big three. It was WCW, ECW, and WWE or F. Those were pretty much the big three. They had independents, but those three were kind of shining, And if it wasn't for ECW, I wouldn't be a fan. It literally came around right at the time. I was like, oh, wrestling's kind of stupid. And like, fucking Rob Van Dam, hold on. Fuck dating women. What is this Sabu guy you're talking about? So like when most people grew up to be teenagers, ECW hit just in time to save me to keep being a wrestling fan. And I did like WCW, and WWF I just never enjoyed. But then when ECW went under, it was like, we're running out of options. You know what I mean?
And that was, in a way, a sad time, Dave.
Yeah.
When we lost the alternatives, it was like, so it's like we're just going to have to sit here and watch WWE for a while. Great.
Yeah, and
it's like, I liked WWE at the time, but it wasn't as good. I'm like, I enjoyed the invasion angle, but that was just...
Yeah, they dropped
Don't
the
get
ball.
me started on that.
But here's the thing, like, WCW was great, and its dying days, it sucked. But there was also a part of you that a lot of people don't remember this, especially younger people. There was a part that you supported a shitty WCW product because you were afraid that WWE would be the only network in town. And then there was hope with the invasion angle. And then, like, all our dreams came true. As a fan, you're like, they're all going to be under one company. Just Vince doesn't have to fuck it up. Spoiler, he fucks it up.
Yeah, that was a bit...
And then without competition, going back to an era that never existed, it was just garbage for fucking years. It was horrible. And I feel bad because there's kids that grew up in that garbage. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. Honest to God, if I started watching wrestling as a little kid, and it was John Cena, Randy Orton, and Dave Batista, Drax for life. If it was those three fucking guys as main eventers, I guarantee I would not be a wrestling fan now. There's no way. Dude, that era was hard because that era was, oh my God, there's an invasion. Everyone's together. It's going to be amazing. Oh my God, this is horrible. It's only getting worse. It's got to end soon. Spoiler, it doesn't fucking end for years. And then, there was then there was Impact, which gave us a little bit of hope. And then Dixie Carter took that away. But it was just years and years. I just want your thoughts on, how great it was as a kid when there was lots of options, how it was weird when it was Final 3, and then when WWE finally took over, and just that long run before TNA comes around.
Very glad that you asked that, Dave, because I think it was definitely because obviously I'm on this big rock of what's considered to be the biggest island in the world called Australia, right? So compared to yourself, Dave, because
I live on a little island. I live on a little island in Japan. I didn't know we were here to judge islands, ladies. It's not about the size of your island.
But it's like you grew up in the United States, so I think had greater access to some of the other alternatives, at least with the territories, or a bit more access when it comes to tape trading and all that sort of stuff. Being in Australia, like growing up a kid in the 80s and 90s, like compared to now, it was really hard to get tapes and other stuff imported from overseas. like especially being a young wrestling fan, yeah. So it's just like when it come to watching the wrestling, it's like all my like most of my fix was if I was able to try and see it on if like one or two small things may have popped up on TV, which was usually just WWF. Going down to the local video store, the old Majestic Video and Movie Land and Blockbuster and stuff, and renting out the WWF tapes. I think what kind of helped when I was younger as well was like a place where I did my work experience. I worked at Movie Land. With the wrestling tapes, they actually had a couple of AWA tapes. And it was just, I think at that point in time, it was so good to have that alternative, but it was spare. And they probably had like 4 or 5 AWA videos. That's it, right? So at least that wasn't too bad. And then on the previous podcast, I touched on watching like the old WCW Worldwide before, obviously the Big Three boom and all that sort of stuff post the territories. So, but then when it even came to like, I didn't even really know about the local wrestling shows in Australia, for example, until I was probably like in high school. All right, I never like obviously being a kid, I never worried about or I never thought about like going to the local shows where it was like what was it the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or it was like the 60s and 70s going into the 80s was like the height of the golden age of Australian wrestling and whatnot. So, and that used to be on like every, like I think it was like every lunchtime having a conversation with Mum the other day. And it was like, I think that back then, it's like a lot of people would actually get their fix of like the initial like American legends and stuff like that, that would actually come over and like wrestle against and commingle with the Aussie guys. But it was just yeah, it was like what we had access to was very limited. It wasn't too bad in that 93, 94 when we had WCW worldwide, but then from about 94, 95, 96, it started to get significantly better soon as we had WCW like really pop up as a prevalent competitor, and then all of a sudden we started getting access to stuff out of the country. So, like around 1998, I started getting access to stuff like ECW, and it was just a bit of a breath of fresh air in my teenage years because I was just like, like as much as I love my WCW, as much as I love WWF, fuck, ECW was the best thing since sliced bread because it was different to the shit that I was used to seeing growing up. And we had it really good, but then, like you said, when it went into that period where ECW went out of business, WWE bought the rights to that, WCW not long after, and then it was just that WWF product. We was like, there was some alright stuff considering that they had a mixture of WCW, ECW, WWE, and some new talent. But then after a while, it's kind of like everybody that was at the big three, everything kind of blended in and it becomes shit. Then you get like your John Cena's and all that sort of stuff like that. And then it was like just for the fucking longest time, me and my group of friends, our monthly thing that we did, there was about like 8 to 10 of us, order a pay-per-view, we all rock up, drink, pizza, talk shit about wrestling, fuck around, do whatever. And it's just all like the constant conversation going around my circle was how shit and batshit boring John Cena was. And we're just kind of scratching our heads going, why are we subjected to this shit for? This is fucking ridiculous. But then now, as time evolved, as technology evolved, the internet has become a very big part of our lives. And then all of a sudden, all the smaller promotions, all the slightly bigger promotions in the thing have got some kind of content online at the drop of a hat. I can go to YouTube, put in a particular wrestling promotion. I can go to like just about almost any wrestling site and they got some sort of streaming wrestling going on these days. And it's just, people don't know, I think now at least, how lucky people actually are that guys like you and I, Dave, were actually subjected to that bullshit period where we only really had access to one product, and
Yeah.
it was fucking miserable for a time.
Yeah,
There's
and
some good shit, but it was miserable.
I
But
don't think so.
yeah,
I think when John Cena, Randy Orton, and Dave Bautista were on top of the company, it was just pain. I it was just the most painful experience of my fucking life because I was like, oh, I'm gonna review it with the idea of it'll get better. I stopped reviewing Raw 10 years later. It's like I wash my hands of it. It's like it'll get better. Maybe it's getting better. I doubt it.
But do you see my view? But it's just more so because it's like I'm in a completely separate country because it's different for me here. It'd
Yeah.
be different for you in Japan, and it would have been different for you when you were living in the United States as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, what I wanted to say is like, do you think seeing WCW and ECW kept you a wrestling fan longer than it should have? Because to me, it seems like the WWF
I believe it did.
has a cap of like, okay, that's enough. Like it doesn't last long, Like I could see like if someone says I've been a New Japan fan my whole life. I'm like, I get it. Hey, I've been a WCW fan my whole life. Okay, I get it. Ring of Honor fan my whole life. Okay, they've hit hard times. I can't picture being a WWE fan my whole life because it's the same. You know what I mean?
I
It's
started
like,
off with WWF, man, and then soon as WCW come along, I was a WCW guy. Soon as I got a taste of ECW, I'm like, I was a big WCW guy, but I'm like, ECW is way better than than WWE. I'd
and
watch that any day over
I
WWE.
know it's funny the newer because it's so bright and shiny and covered, and ECW is nostalgic too because if
Oh yeah, it's
it
been
depends how
pushed
you
up.
look at through history. If you look at ECW from going forward in history, it's groundbreaking. If you're a young kid and you're looking backwards, you're like, what the fuck are these old people talking about? It's not that good. It's not shiny. It's not bright.
Yeah,
you know? And yeah, I just find it to be interesting that it was, yeah, so. And that's the thing. I think if you have a product and you have a monopoly for so long, that everyone that has money thinks they have to copy the monopoly. And there's people, like, this is the part that I'm confused. There's younger fans that deep down inside do not like the WWE product, but feel like, and I've said this a million times, I'm quoting myself, douche, feel like Vince McMahon's success is their success. Like, they actually don't like the product, but they're like, we're number one. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I guess maybe in sports that feels good. It's got to feel weird in entertainment. Here's the thing, and let's just do the entertainment aspect of it. All right? I like the MCU. I love it with all my heart. I don't think the DCE or whatever the fuck it's called, the DC universe is good. Hopefully, someone fixes it. I don't want DC to do that bad, But I can't picture being an MCU and be like, yeah, fuck you. You like Batman? You're a fucking idiot. But that's what the WWE fans are, because I think deep down inside, when you act like that on anything, you don't actually enjoy what you're defending. Same thing with, politics, news. Like, the people that are always angry, ready to attack, usually don't like what their side is doing. It's just they put too much investment into it and feel like it's part of them. And in sports, I can kind of see it. It's like, oh, we got to root for the team. It's built in. I can't see it in pro wrestling because, what do you get out of it? I don't know. Like, here's an example. I love the, MCU. I don't want the DC fucking, what is it, the DC universe called? Fine, we're just going to call it DC. Fuck letters.
DCU, I think it is.
Yeah, listen,
I
whatever
could
it
be
is,
wrong.
it's hashtag fuck letters. But I don't want to see fucking Batman die. I don't want to see Joker die. But WWE fans, they had to do one product that they don't enjoy because they bitch about it. But that's not true. Let's raise this by 98% of WWE fans. 98% of WWE fans don't actually enjoy the product, bitch about it. And then someone comes along and the product's different, and then they mock it for being different. And that's the part that confuses me. Maybe it's because they only grew up with one option, or maybe, it's just like, well, I got nothing going in life, but at least Vince is rich. You know what I mean? I don't fucking get it.
Yeah,
now,
very true.
for the 2% that loves WWF, that honestly God loves it, that's not a knock on you. If you genuinely love it, and you're like, fuck yeah, John Cena, Dave Bautista, Randy Orton, the Usos, woo, and you actually love everything about it, this is not a knock on you. This is a knock that are the people
But
that
it's exactly
hate the product.
so yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. But if you think about it, it's exactly like that with the AEW fans as well. There are people who genuinely love that product, but it's kind of like, obviously, you've got a percentage like myself who is like, I'm like, yeah. It's like, I watch bits and pieces of it, or I watch bits and pieces of WWE from time to time, but
yeah,
it's like, I'd rather seek out alternatives on the internet that aren't in that big, shiny limelight, and I'm like, I find like MLW more interesting or more engaging for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. We might have to do an MLW show. Because like the review shows do a lot better on YouTube. I don't know how they would do in the podcast form. We put this on YouTube and podcast everywhere, so we're trying to rebuild it, start something new, start something fresh. But I know in YouTube the reviews do a lot better than the podcast. But I don't know how the reviews would do on a podcast. So maybe we should do it, test the waters, see. You look like the type of guy that follows the analytics. I literally just post stuff and be like, hope for the best. And then YouTube.
Yes and no.
And then YouTube always contacts me when I'm doing good. They're like, would you like to be partner? Okay. You're not good enough to be a partner. I'm like, all right. Would you like to be partner? Okay. We're going to have this fucking dance. Are we, YouTube? But the best part is, it's like, you're not partner because you curse. Oh my God, we can't. We were gonna make you partner because you do curse and you're not family friendly. I'm like, YouTube algorithm and all this. This is why we're expanding and going to podcast and Twitch and all that. We're not putting all our eggs in one basket in YouTube anymore. But YouTube reminds me of fucking fashion. For the beginning of time, I only had one fashion. Like if I had unlimited money and I had access to clothes, I'd wear jeans and a hockey jersey. That's it. From fucking 1902 when I was born to fucking now 2042 to 2042. That in between that time period, I've only worn one thing. Fucking
I relate, bro.
Sneakers,
I relate.
jeans, and jerseys. And it's weird because like every now and then they're like, "You're in fashion. You're out of fashion. You're in fashion. You're out of fashion," and you never fucking changed. Just that's like me with YouTube. They're like, you curse, so you can't be partner. Oh, we're in trouble with the kids. You curse, so you can be partner. Like, okay, I see what the fuck's going on here.
It's just like, yeah, make up your mind, YouTube.
But
Like,
I wonder if WWE is our fashion sense. Is WWE the jeans and jersey? Like, don't worry, you motherfuckers will come around again.
So it was like, yeah, the way that I look at it, right? I mean, like you're saying, yeah, I agree with your statement there. WWE was kind of like, oh yeah, your jeans, sneakers, and t-shirt. But then soon as WCW come along and kind of took their mantle, they were the jeans, t-shirt, leather jacket, aviators, like leather belt, studs, all that sort of stuff. They were that if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and then as soon as they left, they're like, oh, we don't need leather jackets anymore. Just make jeans and hockey jerseys bright as fuck.
Yeah, and then it was like ECW come along, so they were almost like the WCW in the sense but they were like your hardcore punk, like you get where I'm coming from, like that more extreme version.
I guess the best way to describe ECW for those that didn't live in it is that it was edgy before people used the word edgy. Because it wasn't really hardcore, and it really wasn't, but they sold it as hardcore. So yeah, I think like if you go back and watch it, it was just edgy for the time. Well, now I guess anything is edgy. Jesus Christ, you guys get your shit together, man.
John
Cena, dude, you're the black. Percentage-wise, John Cena, the character, will we ever, as humans, become so soft? Hard times make hard men. Hard men make soft times. Soft times make soft men. Do you think we'll ever be in a time where life is so easy and we are so soft that people will be offended of John Cena's run?
I know that me and my friends have already been so fucking offended about a lot of the shit that he's done.
Not his talent. I meant like storyline wise.
No, it's just even that. Like the people that I know in my circles, fucking
Like offended because
like
it's garbage, or offended like that hurt my feelings.
But the thing is that, I mean, it's like you're talking to me. How offended I am at the current wrestling product as a whole.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think your offense in my what I was going for is a little different. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm just glad. Like the problem is, I just don't want. Because let's talk about TNA for a little bit. TNA was the first chance that there was hope. Now, a lot of people started watching Japan wrestling. It's a lot easier now, but it was hard for a long time to watch Japanese wrestling. So Japan, I think we should have another chapter of this podcast. But I just want to talk about TNA.
Definitely.
TNA was hope because it was different. It was like a little bit of WCW, a little bit of ECW, a little bit of WWE.
It early on.
Yeah, I loved early TNA, and then
it was good.
Then Dixie came along. Boo! If you can pipe in sound noises to Impact Wrestling, we can pipe in sound noises to our podcast.
Oh yeah, man.
Boo! It's weird, the piped in crowd noise. I don't know if it helps or makes it worse, but boo! She
the piped
came
in chanting is the worst.
With
the piped in chanting, dude. Oh,
it's like it's just
yeah. No, talk
I
about
don't know
this.
if it's bad. It's just weird. Because not only that, but I don't think it helps the thing. Because like, they can cut a killer promo and then they do a piped in, crowd reaction. Like, well, that's kind of weird. Not only that, but I also like when the crowd reaction is generic and it's cheering, but like two guys are jaw jacking. You're like, you're the worst. Yeah, I said you're the worst. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. What were we saying about Dixie? Let's continue that conversation.
Dixie Carter was everything we dreamed about. There was an era where like if a rich person just took over a federation and ran it. And then that dream, there's two dreams that turned into nightmares here. That's why we're not fairly positive people as old wrestling fans. The first dream was when Vince McMahon took over everything, the product would be good and everyone would be on the same roster. That turned into a nightmare. Then the second dream was, well, if there was a really rich person that put money into a product and competed against WWE, it would be a good product. That was the second nightmare, called Dixie Carter. And it was just fucking bad because TNA was a little bit of everything. It was a great alternative. And then Dixie's like, let's get everyone that's ever done. Because a lot of people blame WCW for this and Ted Turner. That's rewritten history. WCW had a great history before those big signings. And those big signings came at a great storyline. So, like, I don't think people remember history the real way. They remember it the way WWE tells them. You know what I mean? And they remember they remember it falling apart at the end. But there was great times. And I think a lot of people through WWE history and older people just complaining don't realize there was great times at WCW. But TNA just fucking fell apart. And it was crushing. And when they were absolutely nothing but a WWE washed up bullshit, there was no hope. And then Lucha Underground came, and there was hope for people that liked that style of wrestling. That was my style of wrestling. I loved it. And then there was the contract dispute. And then New Japan kept growing. Ring of Honor kept growing. They dropped the ball recently. MLW came on the scene, and now you have AEW. Now, AEW, when it first started out, was a little bit like young TNA, except at a higher stage. And at this point right now, they are so close to following the Dixie Carter thing. And here's the thing, why I'm scared, because AEW is the biggest promotion. New Japan is big but different, if that makes sense. WWE is Monopoly just trying to hold on. They're trying to keep the Titanic above. They're like, it's shiny, we're number one. It's shiny, we're number one. That should be a WWE t-shirt. We're shiny and we're number one, son of a bitch. Love us. We were your childhood. But AEW, if they fucking fail, a.k.a. pull a Dixie Carter, that's going to put our dream of having many different options of pro wrestling at risk. So Cody Rhodes, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and I know you're not a big AEW fan, but if AEW goes the way of Dixie Carter, you could tell that's going to hurt MLW. That's going to hurt the business. So don't fuck this up, AEW. Like you don't have to. You don't have to.
Hurt the business though.
You don't have to make.
Like,
Go ahead, sir.
so I just said, in what way would it hurt like MLW and everything there? Because it's like, it's like AEW is the good alternative, right? But in a way that they've gone ahead and with some of, I think, the bigger stars that came through the company, they kind of taken out and gutted some of the bigger stars that were at MLW to obviously not only just for their own reasons and stuff and to get better exposure, which power to them, like MJF, right? For all intensive purposes, yeah, it's kind of like that they've gutted, I think, some of the good stuff out of the smaller things, kind of like Vince McMahon did when he decided to go around to all the territories and gut and take all the people and everything there. And it's like, I think that process has already begun a little bit.
Yes and no. And this is why. You're not wrong, but I'm going to paint another picture. Second, first step, it's the smaller one. It will be quick. AEW is willing to work with people. So that is a good sign for the smaller guys.
That's a benefit.
Yes. Okay, so that's a small one. I think we can agree. Now, I'm going to paint a picture for the second part that you might not see coming. Most fans that would watch MLW or that 90% of wrestling fans are WWE fans. We hate it. We love it. It's the reality. They will use any excuse to see pop events. Getting them to watch AEW is a challenge. Getting them to watch MLW is a bigger challenge. If you take away that middle step, those fuckers are never checking out MLW. Never in a million years. It's kind of like, you know how, in the old 80s commercials, weed is a gateway drug? AEW is a gateway fucking promotion. If I love everything about WWE, AEW fucking sucks. And then they're like, well, check out all the alternatives. Who are they going to check out first? AEW. And then they go check out Kenny Omega. They're like, man, Kenny Omega heard his fucking awesome things. I'm going to go check him out. And JR goes, hey, Kenny Omega left his heart in Japan. They're not going to check out Japan, and they sure as fuck ain't going to check out MLW. They're gone. They're going back to pop events. Then you're like, oh, here's a death match. Holy fuck, there's a death match? All right, I'll fucking leave pop events for a second. Let's see what these guys do. And there's some sparklers. They're running back to pop events. They are not
condensed
going to MLW.
Gilbert entrance.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying on that. That's a condensed Gilbert entrance.
I think the number 2 company is the most important company when it comes to options. And I even feel that way.
I agree.
I feel that way with a lot of competition. If there's no Burger King, there's no Wendy's. You need that big guy to be like, no, I'll fucking fight the big guy. And he's like, okay, if he could do it, I could do it. You know what I mean? There is something like, Sony and Xbox. If they combine, why the fuck would anyone check out another system? You know what I mean? It's very difficult. I think if you like, and this is my strong feeling, I could be wrong. I guess I would describe this as a strong opinion. If AEW goes the way of Dixie Carter and goes under, I think it's horrible for the business. I think it's horrible for the MLW, Ring of Honor, NWA. And by the way, NWA is coming back this week. Oh, let's review NWA next week. You want to do that?
Yeah, all right, no worries.
I don't know.
Can do that.
I don't know how it's gonna be. I don't know how it's gonna be on the podcast though.
My 2 favorite wrestlers are no longer there. One's no longer signed at NWA, and the other one passed away recently.
I know,
and that was heartbreaking. That was Josephus, but I like he did the question mark, and I love that question mark. That was amazing.
I thought it was really good entertainment. I thought it was beyond amazing entertainment.
How
about this? I know YouTube loves reviews, and I'm in charge. I'm Mr. YouTube. Meanwhile, I'm like, fuck them. I'm Mr. YouTube. We'll do an NWA review. If you're listening to this the podcast, give yourself a Barry Horowitz. You're a goddamn pioneer. If you're listening to this on a podcast, we'll do an NWA review because they're coming back. It makes sense for us to do. We both grew up NWA fans. At least I did. I'm pretty sure you respected the NWA. We'll review it.
Yes, of course.
And then if you are pro podcast reviews, maybe we'll open it up. Maybe we'll do interviews. But to be completely honest, I don't even know where the comments go in a podcast. So you got to at Yuri the Black. Yuri the Black, if they're like, fuck yeah, reviews, fuck yeah, interviews, you tell me.
Yeah.
If you tell me, I'm probably just going to forget. I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, if you got comments for us, either if you go to Podbean, when you click on the pod itself, there is a section where you can comment, or just jump on Twitter and either at KocoSports or at Yuri the Black. Happy to interact and discuss more online and create a discussion. Please, you got any questions? We're happy to answer them.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll do some Stump the Idiots. That's what we call it on YouTube. How about this? In 2 weeks, we'll do a combination of Stump the Idiot and the Slow Burn. We'll combine our worlds, and we'll do a Q&A question. Because I have 1,000. Okay.
Let me guess, we call it the Slow Burn Idiots?
Oh, I don't know. I say we call it the Idiot Burns. Burn Idiot. Idiot Burns. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Burn the Idiot.
Burn the Idiots. We'll figure it out. Stump the Burn.
Yep.
I don't know. Working title, as they would say in Hollywood. It's a working title. But
Slow Stump.
Because the thing is, I don't have access to the podcast. I don't know. This could be blowing up. It could be going nowhere. But it doesn't matter. We want to hear your voice. And we'll do an NWA review next week. And, it should be fun. It should be fun. And then I know I've done radio and television, so I'm just shooting from the hip. I don't really enjoy interviews. But Yuri the Black's like, fuck yeah, we can interview. I don't know. I was just going to make up a person, but then I was like, it'd be mean to make up anyone. Fuck it. I'm going to make up a fictional guy so we can't offend any guest. Because I was about to say someone. I'm like, God damn it. What if he's a guest? All right. If you remember Nintendo Entertainment System, Pro Wrestling, and the Amazon. Like, if you want to fucking interview the Amazon? Sure. We'll fucking interview the Amazon. Sure. Why not? Why not? We'll make it happen. But yeah, so we'll figure it out. But I got a little distracted there. But yeah, what were we talking about?
I forgot. No, about
AEW
turning around and say,
yeah,
about AEW being like how important the second promotion is right now for wrestling. Because if
I think
they were to disappear, like
I think all time. I don't think it's just right now.
It will kind of implode almost.
Yeah,
it will be kind of. Then everything it'll have that problem of saturation, I think, as well. With it'll be good for the promotions in a way.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying, in only one small instance. But the thing is, it would generally have an oversaturation of the top tier talent, may end up killing and overshadowing the actual promotion with what they try to put on as well.
Here's the thing: you can shine and make a living when wrestling's at its all-time low, a.k.a. Vince has got the monopoly. But you have to be creative and original. ACW. I made a full-time living in the lowest point of pro wrestling independence and the lowest fucking point, or Vince's highest point. And the problem is, you have to convince people that you're not the same. The biggest problem is Dixie Carter. Dude, I will fucking sell a goddamn shirt if you make a logo and it says "Don't be a Dixie Carter," because I think this comes up at least 7. We've done how many podcasts now?
Hell yeah.
3, 4, 5?
This is our fifth.
I think we bashed Dixie Carter more than John Cena, and I'd like to think we've grown as people.
Yeah.
Don't be a Dixie Carter.
Last episode or episode before, maybe. Last couple of episodes we mentioned Dixie Carter.
All I'm saying is that you like a style of wrestling, I like a style of wrestling, and we can both agree, don't be a Dixie Carter. I think we can agree on that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And don't be shit.
Don't be shit.
And don't be shit.
Don't be a Dixie Carter with the poo emote. No one's buying this shirt. Like, we're gonna get sued by Dixie Carter.
Here's
the worst part. Fun fact, Dave. Dixie Carter is the sweetest person you could ever fucking meet.
Really?
Like John Cena, I shit on him, but he's a horrible fucking human being. Like, he is the worst human being you could ever fucking meet in real life. There's only two people. There's people that fucking think John Cena's a good guy and people that met him. No
and it's like the way that I look at it, right?
But Dixie
As
Carter.
well, like with me, I might shit on Kenny Omega, but if I was to actually sit down, meet him, and hang out with him, I'd probably get around him and get along with him like a house on fire. That's the thing. You know, it's like I may shit on someone's work. It doesn't mean I actually physically hate the person.
Unless your name's John Cena.
Unless your name's John Cena.
I mean, fair's fair. But no, because like we've been shitting on Dixie Carter for what, a good 2-3 episodes, and that wasn't even my intention at all. But she's by far the sweetest, kindest person in the world. Like when we go to court for our fucking "Pooh, don't be a Dixie Carter" shirt, I'll be like, no, Judge, she's the sweetest fucking person I've ever met. But seriously, don't be a Dixie Carter.
Dixie Carter, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So today, we're lucky. We get lots of options. Just if you're a younger fan, be brave enough to do that. And I used to do this back in the day, but then I stopped caring. Maybe we'll bring it back. Write these ideas down for another podcast. Tell us the type of WWE wrestler you like, and we'll tell you a promotion that wrestles like him. Back in the day, that did really good on our YouTube channel. Because people are like, I don't want to leave WWE, but I want to see someone like Dolph Ziggler do better. Okay, watch this program. Oh, I want to see Cesaro do better. You know what I mean? Oh, I like this style of pro wrestling. Now, back in the day, we did that, and it was pretty over. So, yeah, maybe we'll do it again. All right.
And I think just to quickly, if we're going to be wrapping stuff up, just to quickly touch on what you were saying, and it's like, me being a performer, I highly encourage people to step out of their comfort zone to explore other wrestling promotions as well.
Can I just add something? Oh, go ahead, sir.
Sure.
I just want to add something.
Go for it.
You go first. I'm going to go next. I'm nervous.
Oh, okay. Yep. Nah, that's all right. And the reason why I say this, right, because I'm not sure if a lot of people know that I am actually a pro wrestling manager, as we mentioned in earlier podcasts. Like, obviously, me being a performer, I'm loyal to a particular promotion that I specifically like working for, but I've worked over multiple promotions, right? Like, the thing that I think kind of annoys me the most as a performer, but it's like I can't turn around and fault the fans for doing this. If people are loyal to a brand, they will continue going ahead and viewing that brand. There's one particular, like I think our top promotion that we have in Melbourne, Melbourne City Wrestling. They have hands down some of the best wrestling going around in Australia, especially in Melbourne. But their fans, I've noticed, are fiercely loyal to the point where, and I'm not faulting them and I'm not saying this in a negative way, but where there's that fan elitism and you have a conversation, like there's people that I know that are specifically MCW fans, and it's like, hey, why don't you step out of your comfort zone and check these other promotions out that are out there, right? And it's like, oh, no. Oh, I do notice that obviously you've got your loyalists for that one brand, you got the loyalists for the other brand, and stuff like that. But it's like, but then there's that other group of wrestlers that they'll go to just about every show and stuff like that. So be like those fans. Give everything a go. Yeah, there might not be, you may actually go ahead and find one day that there might be something that you like at another promotion that you didn't even give the time of day to view, because we all need to thrive. It's like, but at the same time, I'm not faulting the people who are fiercely loyal to, say, MCW in this example.
Yeah.
And what I want you to weigh in on that too, Dave, as well. It's like you can't make everybody like everything, but just I'm urging people to be open to try other promotions. If you don't like it, fine. Continue with what you got. If you like it, you might find something alternative that you may like. Give other promotions a chance, not just the one promotion you stick to.
And I got a couple angles to shoot on this one. Business-wise, I'm going to talk about Japan. I don't know how it is in the Australian market. it is very hard to be a fan of Japanese independent wrestling, and people are going to shit their pants and are like, why? Because if you go to one bad show, you're paying the same price for New Japan tickets. So, like, when you go and you see a bunch of fucking shitbag independent wrestlers, and this is a Japan problem, you go and see a bunch of shitbag independent wrestlers, and it's not a good independent show. You leave going, I could have seen Okada, Ibushi, a Naito, Nakamura, you know? So, like, if you are an independent and you're in an area where there's a monopoly, you have to drop the price. Because if you have a bad show and it's cheaper, and I know this sucks, but if you have a bad show and it's cheaper, be like, oh, it was a good night out. But if you're the same price as New Japan, people leave a bad show going, what the fuck was the point of that? You know what I mean? And this happened with Bear Friend. She knows nothing about wrestling, trust me. I don't even know why I'm dating her. Embarrassing with her boobies and lady parts. But she went to Wrestle Kingdom. She paid the price to go to Wrestle Kingdom. We were sat in like ringside. Then we went to a New Japan event and we sat ringside. And it was fucking like, okay, this is what pro wrestling's like. And then I'm like, for the same price, would you like to see fucking people way worse at this in a fucking way shittier arena? And she's
Exactly.
like, no,
Yeah, I do get
why would you want to do that? Like, when I took her to an independent fucking thing, she went to Wrestle Kingdom, then went to New Japan, and then went to an independent. And they were all the same price. And she's like, okay, you're a crazy person. Why are we here? Like, I'm pretty sure this is dumb. So you definitely have to lower the price. So that's a Japan thing. I don't know if that's an everywhere place thing. Second, you said it like a worker, and I understand. Now, I'm going to say it like a fan, okay?
Yeah.
As a fan, check out alternatives because you never know. Like, as a fan, these are some of my greatest moments. I've seen AJ Styles wrestle in front of nobody. I've seen Naito wrestle in front of nobody. I've seen Kenny Omega wrestle in front of nobody. And I know it sounds weird, but when you see an AJ Styles wrestle in front of 2-3 people, and then he's at WrestleMania, Wrestle Kingdom, TNA, it feels good. It's like watching someone. It's like watching someone from college to Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? As a fan, it feels good, but you don't get that experience. Like, yeah, if you stick with WWE and you never see anything else, or just big company, you get excited for a Kenny Omega, but you don't know why. You're just excited because of hype. Now, if you've seen him wrestle in front of fucking 10 people and build your way up, there is something special, romantic, and feels great to be a fan of that. And that's why. Like, I would go... Now, prices do matter. Like, if I went to Australia... Let's say I go to Australia, and there's a New Japan show, and I come in and I see Yuri the Black's wrestling, okay? And you're the same price as New Japan, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt my feeling. Not hurt my feelings, hurt my view of your product. But if I go in, it's $10, I had a good time, and I get to see a wrestler called Yuri the Destroyer, and later Yuri the Destroyer's in WWE, I'm like, man, I got to see him at Yuri the Black's wrestling. You know what I mean? But if I go and you're like,
oh yeah,
I'm like, oh, I could see Okada, and I think Okada's the greatest wrestler in the world, but I also get to see Ibushi. He's the greatest wrestler in the world. So if I get to see the best wrestlers in the world for fucking $50, and then I see Yuri the Destroyer, who's not fucking even seasoned, and you say $50, that takes that specialness away. And people are like, oh, you got to support the little guys. No, you got to be fucking worthy of being support. Now, Ring of Honor, in their prime, not now. Ring of Honor in their prime, they could charge me anything. I'd fucking drop it. You know what I mean? TNA in their prime could have charged me anything, and I would have dropped it. Dragon Gate in their prime would have dropped it. You know what I mean? But if you're like an average or a shit indie and you're charging New Japan prices, that's on you. That is not on the fans. That is on
definitely. You. I agree. It's like, do it within reason or only if you really want to. It's like, I'm not forcing or putting a gun to people's head thing, but it's just from a performance standpoint, I'm like, be open to, like, and like you said, be open. Definitely do check out thing, but it's like, the problem is that it's like, I think in terms of reputations with promotions here, just like across the world, yeah, but it's just because we've got, in a way, so many promotions either we've had like about another 2 or 3 promotions just randomly start up out of nowhere as well. We're
Yeah.
so like because we go through this phase of being overly saturated with promotions or or events and whatnot. So
That's
around the
most
time,
places. Unlike Japan, Japan is saturated all
yeah,
the time. Like I know it's weird. The problem is when you're saturated, you can ask Mayor Friend. There is an event. There's 5 events every day. None of them feel special. Like
really?
oh god
Oh
no,
wow,
none of them. Because the thing is, you live in Tokyo. There's 5 events a day. Okay, well there'll be 5 events tomorrow. Okay, there'll be 5 events tomorrow. But if you live out in the country and they come once a month or twice a month, you go to every fucking show. It's kind of like the things that people in the city don't do city things because there's too many options. Pro wrestling is
yeah.
kind of like that, especially in Japan does this if you're charging New Japan prices. It's like, oh, come to a show 5 days a week and we're going to charge you New Japan prices. It's like, okay. Okay, you're fucking up here, pal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, because here's the thing. I will see any pro wrestling promotion once. I will. To get me in that building again, price and entertainment and show matters. So let's say you are average or lower and you're charging New Japan prices. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm an
I wouldn't
asshole.
go.
I would go once. I always give a promotion a chance
Yeah,
once.
I know, of course. It's like I wouldn't be. I would be. It'd be one of those things where if I do like the product, but even though it's obviously not obviously the whiz bang best, it's like I'll go to an event or I'll go to a couple events in a row. I might miss a couple of events, or it's like I'll go, yeah, I've seen them once. I might go again, or I might go again, but then I more than likely won't go again after that.
This is how I rate wrestling. It's $5 in alcohol. I don't give a fuck what you're doing in that ring. You got me. You fucking got me, okay? Seriously, you could be playing fucking tiddlywinks. Like, oh, it's $5 in fucking beer. Let's go see these
I can
motherfuckers do
tell
tiddlywinks.
you.
Now, if it's 10
One of the
bucks,
promotions that I worked at, Dave, you would love that because it's like you pay your entry fee and then it's like $4 alcohol at this venue or cheap alcohol at the venue. And that's why there's bits and pieces of people, they'll pay their minimum $15 entry and they'll go for the cheap alcohol.
yeah. We've done that in America. That's a go-to. The thing is, it's a good risk, but so you got me there. $10, I'm like, okay, I'll come to a weekly $10 show if you keep me entertained. $20, I'm like, you better be pretty fucking good. Once you crack 50, like, and the thing is, I'll pay whatever you want the first time. But let's say you're like, oh, it's $50 to come into an indie event. I literally pause, look at you, and be like, if you don't I don't say it because I'm not a rude asshole, but I think it very loudly. That's not true. I used to say it. I stopped saying it because people were offended. But the kinder older version of me, I just look at you and I mentally say, if you do not fucking entertain me from bell to goddamn fucking bell, you will never fucking see me again. Here's your $50 fucking dollars. Like, because the thing is, you never know. You have to try it once, you know? But yeah, like, price does matter for fans. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's bullshit. No, fuck you, dude. Fucking times are tough, you know? But if you're 50, like, I kid you not, if it's $50, you have to be just as good or better than New Japan by those standards. You know, I'm not fucking paying $50 and fucking watching the $5 tiddlywink fucks. I'm not doing it. I'm fucking doing it. You know what I mean?
The average show costing in Australia, or at least in Melbourne, you'd be looking at and I'm talking general admission, minimum of about $15 Australian.
See,
because obviously the economy and everything's a bit different compared to America, right?
Yeah.
So obviously $15 compared to America, it'd be dicks. Like you guys would be like, all right, cool, I pay about
it's
however much equivalent back home, right?
Yeah.
So but then it's like you might get, and then it's like the next thing up. It's like obviously front row seats, but you need to book your front row seats. Like one of the shows that I'm on I'm just using this as an example, general admin, because what I'd consider a fair, and I'm not being biased, a fairly decent presented event. General admissions, 25 Australian dollars. Front row tickets are 30 Australian dollars.
You
So there's about a
you better
$5
bring the
price
fucking
difference.
thunder with those prices. You better bring the fucking thunder with those prices.
Look, I get you, but it is slightly different here in Australia compared to America.
Yeah.
Because you guys, like, even though that, when I say saturated, right, I can think that we've got maybe 7 to 10 promotions within the Victoria area, roughly, right?
No, that's
That
rough.
it's like, I could go, like, I could go to, like, somewhere in America, I could go to New York, and there'd be upwards of 25 plus different promotions that might be popping up here and there with multiple events, or like you said in Japan, they got 5 events a day. So that's what, 25 shows,
There's a
30,
lot.
35 shows a week
Yeah, it's
minimum.
insane. There is
Right?
one building. There is one building that runs 10
Cork
shows
and
a
Hall?
week. What's that?
Cork and Hall, I'm assuming.
No,
Cork
no,
and
no,
Hall,
no.
I'm
There's
assuming?
there's another one. I forget what it's called. I've been there a bunch. I think it's like One Shore. I don't know. It's a fucking wave on it. There's a building that runs 10 shows a week. Corkin, they might be running 10 shows a week. It's close because if you count combat sports, Corkin runs 10 shows a week. They're not all pro wrestling. Like sometimes
okay.
there's boxing, sometimes there's. But the one that I'm thinking of, and I apologize, I can't think of the name of the building, but there's a building that they don't hold boxing events, they don't hold mixed martial arts, they hold nothing but pro wrestling, and there's 10 plus shows a week. Then there is Corrigan Hall, who does 10 plus shows a week, but that's not all pro wrestling. That's boxing, mixed martial arts. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, but there is not a lack of shows in the Tokyo area at all. At all. You know what I mean?
It's like, but if I was to go ahead and fly to Japan, like, just say if I was to catch up with you, I'd be like, Dave, there's
Let's
an
go see 'em
abundance of
all.
wrestling. Let's go fucking see a bunch of wrestling.
Oh yeah, it would be
Because
awesome.
obviously it's a different environment for me. It'll be on like young and old. They'll be like, fuck it, let's do it. We're gonna have a bit of fun, whatever else. Go out, eat, drink, watch fucking wrestling.
Yeah, and there's pro wrestling bars.
Perfect.
Well, the thing is, like, I've shot this idea a bunch, and I might do it obviously later. I'd have to talk to Bear Friend because she's smarter than me, and we'd have to wait till after the world is cured. But I really thought about making
Yeah.
KocoSports a traveling company for combat sports fans and wrestling fans. Because you land here, we'd be like, oh, this is where you go to hotel. Okay, this is where you go for the bars. This is where you go for the events. And then we can make a living just watching wrestling. So I really, my
Someone
friend,
did that years ago in Japan.
my
Dave,
friend,
someone did that years ago.
really,
Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, somebody did that years ago, where it's like he had all these particular packages, and it's kind of like, oh, you pay, like, what is it, your $500 sort of fee, you get access to X amount of events. He will go ahead and take you around to most of the spots, pretty much what you're describing and
Yeah.
stuff. And he made a bit of a like a bit of a killing of that. And then obviously he's kind of gotten to know some of the Japanese wrestlers and
Yeah.
whatever else like that. So he was able to sort of do like, oh, all right, so as a part of this particular tour, you will get to meet and have a signing and photo opportunity with ex wrestlers and rah rah rah.
yeah, that's not hard
And
to
it's
do.
just an awesome idea.
I don't know if the product exists because everyone I know hasn't heard of him, so maybe he stopped, or maybe
Yeah, I
he's just
think
an
he did.
Australian guy. But I have a friend that makes a full-time living doing that in baseball, and he makes a full-time living doing it in soccer. Two different friends. And I was like, does anyone
Oh,
do it in pro
nice.
wrestling? And then I've heard of no one. Now, maybe back in the day someone did it, but I haven't heard it. And even if it is the case, fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck him. You're like, wow. Well, I watched this guy be like my best friend. Like, Dave, why you say fuck me on the podcast, man? But yeah. But I don't know if I'm going to do it because it sounds amazing. But at the same time, that's a lot of wrestling. You know? But you only have to go to like 3 or 4 places. Because think about it. What's the average Japan stay? 3-4 days? You know what I mean? It's not like someone's going to stay a fucking month. You know? So, who knows? Well, anyway, when we're making business plans, you know, it's time to end the podcast.
That's right. So it looked like 2004 was the last one. So it was the guy by the name of George Mayfield, and I think he was an American guy,
Okay.
African American guy, right? So basically, he ended up doing his, from what I understand, his last trip in about 2004. What you would actually get for your money. So it would include your round trip airfare,
Okay.
transportation to and from Narita Airport, hotel
Oh,
accommodation
that
for 8
sucks.
nights with breakfast,
All right.
tickets to 3 wrestling shows,
That's
and
no
that
problem at
also
all.
but the thing is that also included back the first from about I think either the first of the fourth or the first of the fourth 2005 New Japan Dome show,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
10% discount to 3 different wrestling merchandise store,
That's
dinner
yeah.
at
That's all
Ribera
easy.
Steakhouse,
Yeah,
and
all
an
easy.
opportunity to meet some of the wrestlers as a part of that. But then obviously it's got like obviously yeah, you need this, you need a deposit, and it's like ended up being I think over roughly about 3,000 American dollars as a part
Yeah.
of the package.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then it's like they and then even tour party will be having dinner with various wrestling stars and then like going to like Matsunaga, like Mr. Danger's Steakhouse as well. And yeah.
Yeah, see, that's not bad. I just got to make sure the numbers add up. Because, because the thing is, if you're doing the flight, the thing is, the flight, it depends on that price. That's going to be a huge factor. And also that fucking trip. But the thing is, now they have it in Kamada. So I just be like, yo, go to Kamada. I'll pick you up. Because here's travel tips. Sit down, folks. If you fucking
Yeah.
go to Naruto, whatever the fuck that stupid place is called, and it's like you're landed in Tokyo, they are fucking full of shit. You are hours away from Tokyo, and it sucks because you land, you're like, yeah, I'm in fucking Japan, I can't wait. And they're like, bitch, you gotta travel. And dude, know what's the worst? For people that live in Japan, you can ask Bear Friend, can you come pick me up? Your friend really doesn't want to say fuck you, but he wants to
Yeah.
scream it at you. Now, if you come to Kamada, I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, pick you up. But dude, you go to fucking that one out in the fucking middle of nowhere, I'll fuck you. And that's where like people made it. Recently, people have been complaining, so they changed it. They had one down in Kamada, which is West Tokyo, and like you literally land in West Tokyo. If you don't go to the Kamada airport and you go to the other one, dude, like I love you, Yuri the Black. If you said, yo,
Yeah.
come pick me up at that airport, I'd like fucking weasel my way out. Like, yo, bro, this is how you fucking do it. You got to go on this train, do this. Ain't you going to pick me up? You got it. I'd be like just cutting you off. Like, wouldn't you pick me up? It'd be easier. Like, you just get on this train, and then when you get off that train, I'll pick you up. But what if you just pick me up from the airport? Yuri, you get on the fucking train.
Yeah. So I think if I come to Japan, I'll be like, Dave, tell me which airport I need to do so we can just prevent this bullshit.
Yeah, if you go to the airport in Kamata, that's West Tokyo, I'll pick you up in a heartbeat. If you're at the other one, I'll be like, dude, I don't know how close of friends are we. We're like, we've been podcasting for 10 years. I know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know if I'd pick up my brother. If my brother's like, yo, dude, I landed in Tokyo, and I'm like, cool, which airport? And they're like, the one out in East Bumblefuck. I'd be like, yeah, dude, bro, we're not that fucking close. Get on the fucking airplane. Get on the train. What's the airport that's really far away?
Tokyo?
Yeah, there's 2 of them. There's the one in Kamada that's close, and then there's the international one that's far away.
Wouldn't it be Narita Airport?
Narita, yeah, Narita. Fuck you. I'm not picking you up. There, we could be best friends in the fucking world. If Bear Friend fucking flew to Australia to look at cockatiels, came back and fucking said, pick me up, I'd be like, Bear Friend, you can go fuck yourself. Okay, I'm not picking you up. Now, if you land in Kamata, what's the Kamata one called? Hanadududu? It's not the real name. Hanada Airport. If you land in Hanada Airport, I pick you up every fucking time. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning, I pick you up. If you're like, holy shit, dude, I pick you up every time. You land in fucking Naruto land, fuck you. You fucking get on the goddamn train.
Naruto land.
I love Bear Friend with all my heart. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna fucking front. Her ass would be taking a train. I would not pick her up at the airport. And I don't care if Bear Friend's if Bear Friend's like, our relationship is over if you don't pick me up. I'd be like, okay, I really love you, and we had a good run. So that's why, like, everything you listed off, as soon as you said I'd pick you up from the airport, I'm like, I'm out. Fuck, $3,000 just to pick you up from the airport. Yeah,
Screw
Hanada
that,
Airport.
man.
That's the one. So
Screw that.
listen, I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys learned anything pro wrestling wise. Hanada Airport, because your friend that lives in Japan. If you don't go to Hanada Airport, you don't love them. There, I don't give a fuck if it charges extra money. And let's say you're like, oh, I could save $100. Fuck your $100. Burn it. If you don't land at Hanada Airport, you don't love your friend that you're visiting. That's just science, okay?
I'm not looking forward to the flight in the event there. If that's going to be the only option at Narita.
If Narita's the only option, you know you're gonna have to get your ass to Tokyo. Because I am not picking your ass up. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not doing it. You're gonna have to figure that shit out. Like, I'd be like the worst tour guide ever. So I landed in Narita by accident. Well, the tour's over. The tour marches on.
Oh man.
But the other one, I'd have little Yuri the Black signs. I'd have flowers, maybe a little candy. Fucking be like, yeah, fucking welcome to Japan. The other one, I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't know you that well.
I'd pull out my phone and going, look, my friend's a chauffeur. I've got like my name plaque and shit.
Exactly. I'd go all out. If you go land at the one airport, you land at the other airport. I'm like, bro, you're on your own. Fucking welcome to Japan. You fucking idiot. You landed at the wrong airport.
I think the sign that I would get coming off the train would be hold up, you're a prick.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Fuck you.
Yeah, I just put it. So, oh man. But yeah.
So it's been a great conversation around.
Yeah, we kind of got off the rails.
We've had it,
we got
we've
off
had
the
it.
rails for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Listen,
it's like I said.
If you're a wrestler and you get booked and they don't send you to fucking the Kamada Airport, fucking I don't care. If you're like, hey dude, you can work 1-4. We're gonna bring you to the wrong airport. Just say it's not worth it. Be like, listen, this is a great. It's like, Yuri the Black, we're going to book you against Okada, and you're going to go over at the Tokyo Dome. You just are not landing in Kamada. You're like, yo, dude, sorry, it's not worth it. I'm fucking out. I'm going to WWE. I'm out. There's a part of me that I would like to say I'm sarcastic, and I am not. I am 100% sure. Bearfriend knows how much I hate picking motherfuckers up at the airport. Like, jeez, it's not worth it. Like, there's not even a price. Like, I don't even sound like I'm $1 million man. You can be like, yo, dude, $200, you pick me up. Like, you could shove that $200 up your ass. Fuck that. It's so far. Why is it so far, Bearfriend?
Because of the noise.
The noise. Oh, fuck you. Fuck Japan and their fucking. It's fucking the worst. There you go. Worst thing about Japan is picking the wrong airport.
Picking the wrong airport.
Can you imagine customer service? I'd like to buy the KocoSports package, but I'm landing here. Go fuck yourself. Excuse me? That's my response.
Yeah, I get you. I definitely get you.
What were we talking about?
Oh, basically to recap about, it ended up being a good conversation until we kind of derailed everything and it turned it into a bit of a train crash and had a bit of fun with the podcast, about how good we essentially had, like how we went through the motions of how good it was going into that decline, how it then kind of picked up again, declined a little bit, and then I guess how lucky we are to actually have.
Yeah.
We've got the two big alternatives, and then we've got all this stuff that we've got access to online now. If we can't feasibly watch shows in person, or we're in other countries or whatever else, like, and don't Dixie Carter shit.
Exactly. Basically, we are in good times when it comes to pro wrestling, but good times don't last, so enjoy it. On the YouTube machine, like, comment, subscribe. Also, check out Koco Plays on YouTube. Check me out on twitch.tv/KocoSports and DaveKoco.com. Yuri the Black. Mention a bunch of stuff, and then we're going to roll out.
I will. Alrighty, so guys, you can find me at twitch.tv/Yuri the Black. On Instagram and Twitter, Yuri the Black. Facebook, search for Yuri the Black. You should be able to find me there. Smash a like and follow on my page. And then now, alright, as well as that, guys, you've already found us, so please don't hesitate to subscribe at ksslowburn.podbean.com. You can also find us on 3 other different platforms now. So we got iTunes, Spotify, and recently everything got approved on Google Podcasting. You heard it here. As well as that, we've got, obviously, you can find this, what you're probably initially listening to now, on KocoSports YouTube as well. So we got about the 4 different places to get this
We are
wonderful
taking over the
podcast.
worlds. Google loves us,
And-
by the way. We're
Really?
gonna be no, they fucking despise us. It's only gonna be a week. We are Google and KocoSports go together like Paul Heyman and WWE. It happens, but it's not very smooth.
And a massive shout out to Screamin' Scott, Simon, and Shanana once again for them allowing us to use Wrestling Tonight as our official intro to the Slow Burn podcast. Much love, and I'm sure that Dave's got something to say about that too.
Yeah, guys, thanks a lot for the music. It means a lot. We usually never do music. Yuri the Black's like, we can get in contact with a band. The music's pretty awesome, and usually both of those things are full of poop, but we got a great song and great people, so thank you very much. And we'll be back next week, maybe with an NWA review. I think so. We'll give it a shot.
I think so.
All right. On YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. On YouTube Alternatives, everyone else, do whatever like, comment, subscribe is on that platform. All right. With that, I am over.